Hello and welcome everybody. Now I'm going to say the detailed explanation of the chapter My Childhood from 9th class BI. Here, first of all, we talk about the author APJ Abdul Kalam. It is from his autobiography Wings of Fire. Then later we have to discuss about the author whom everybody knows, not in our own country but over all world. People know APJ Abdul Kalam today. He was the president of our country, we know better, and he was the 11th president. But we all know that he is known as Missile Father of missiles. Then, as he worked for defense for the space and technology that guided into the 20th century to our country. Now, it is from his own autobiography where he tells about his childhood. Through this extract, through this chapter, we will know better about his childhood and from which place he came and got that big achievement and become one of the greatest ranked person. As we know, the president is the first person of our country, and he became. See, as he has told here in this chapter that he belonged to a middle class Tamil family, and his father Jalaluddin, as he tells in the beginning of the chapter, that he was not more educated, but he had great innate wisdom. And mother Asyama, she was an ideal helpmate of his father. After that, he tells that among his brothers and sisters, he was undistinguished figure. It means he was not fair and handsome like others, whether his parents were quite fair. And then in the chapter you will see that one incident he discussed about of the Second World War, where he was of 8 years old, and that very time a demand of tamarind came on high level, and he could not understand why in the market the people were wishing tamarind seeds. And that very time he collected the tamarind seeds and sold it and got one anna, and that was handsome sum for him. And then it is discussed about his first wages here in the chapter, how he got his first wages and became delighted. Once his cousin Samsuddin, who was working for the Dinamani paper that always used to come that very time, whether trains were stopped and emergency was ruled, that very time he started to help to his cousin Samsuddin, and that very time he had to gather the paper thrown from the running train, and in that way he could get his first wage that made him to remember even till end. And through then he talks about how a child gets every inherited things from parents. Like that, he was fulfilled with all the needed materials, but his father had always avoided the luxuries and comforts, but provided the things what necessity he had. Now he discussed about 3 of his friends who were from Hindu family And they were, as you know, Ramananda Sastri, R.K.V.V.M and Shiv Prakashan. They all used to read in same class and all together. As Lakshmana Sastri, who was father of Ramananda Sastri, was the priest of the Rameswaram temple. And so, laterly, that Ramananda Sastri became the priest. Shiv Prakashan became a cateringist, a contractor for the Southern Railway, and R.K.V.V.M went into the business of arranging transport. So this, he told even about his three of the friends who were his pen friends. Now, in the chapter, he has discussed about one incident, what happened in his school, as he belonged to a Muslim family. And that very time, all these Hindu students, Hindu boys, sit together with APJ Abdul Kalam. Once what happened? One science teacher came and he saw his cap and marked he is Muslim. That time he was in elementary school. What happened? Ramananda Sastri, he saw to Ramananda Sastri, who had a thread in his hand, and found he is from Hindu, and finding him as Muslim. What he told to APJ Abdul Kalam to go to the back seat, and that very time he could see all those three friends. They were depressed. They cried. They shown their tears on the faces, and he was also impressed highly. That gave him pain and grief. Next day, what happened? Lakshmana Sastri summoned the teacher. After going to their houses, they told to their parents, and Ramananda Sastri summoned the teacher. And in his own lecture, he told that in our presence, you think that social inequality is not possible, and communal intolerance and the minds of innocent children you don't try to break. You see how their parents were too matured with the mind. They have no like this type of intolerance. They had a great bond. One more story he tells about his own another science teacher who was Shiv Subramanyam Iyer, and he too was Orthodox Hindu and Brahmin, and his wife was with narrow-mindedness. It means she had never liked to the people from Muslim or other religions. Conservative mind she had. Once happened that his science teacher called him on feast, and that very time he told to his wife to feed him. But after feeding, she cleaned all the floors, even kitchen, all the utensils, and that remarked that she avoided. Even she talked hard with her husband. Next, once again, that teacher, Subramanya Iyer, called to APJ Abdul Kalam, who already had seen everything and had determined that it is not good to come. But after request, he once again came, and at very time, within the duration, she was such commanded that she herself fed to APJ Abdul Kalam Azad like a child. It means the thing was totally changed. The behavior of that lady, of that science teacher's wife, had totally changed, and it showed how he lived with bond of the religion. Here, the school Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. Indians will build their own India. That was declared by Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with the unprecedented optimism. That very time, his father's permission was to leave Rameswaram and study at the district headquarters in Rameswaram. Now the time came when he had to leave the Rameswaram for his higher studies. And he told in a preach, in a good sense, that Abdul, I know you have to go away to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun, alone and without a nest? Perhaps you had learned about the seagull, how he could muster his courage and started to fly. So like that, he was praised by his father, and for very purpose, he had to leave Rameswaram. And once after improving his whole life education, once he was the first 11th president and one of the best scientists of world ever known. And as this, in the whole chapter, he just discussed about his childhood. Okay, thanks.